Folks, in about 10 months, the Iowa caucus is going to be here. Believe it or not, in 10 months it's going to be here, and we need to choose very, very wisely in order to take our government back in 2012. Tim Pawlenty has been called the Sam's Club Republican, the son of a truck driver who grew up near the stockyards of St. Paul. First member of his family to graduate from college. Later on, he attended law school, served on his local city council, then the State House, then 2 terms as governor of Minnesota. Let's give a warm Fayette County Republican Party welcome to Governor Tim Pawlenty.
Thank you. Or as President Obama would say, you're welcome. And our nation, our beloved United States of America, is off track. And as you travel this country, as I do now, almost every day in the heartland of America and elsewhere, you see the sounds and sights and voices of good, hard-working people in our country saying they're worried about the future. We got to get this country back on track, and it starts with taking those common sense principles that made our country great and bringing them forward. And let's listen again to the wisdom and the perspective of our founding fathers. They not only talked about it, they put it in the documents of the founding foundations of this country. And the first one is this: we need to be a nation that turns toward God, not away from God. And this isn't the rhetoric of a politician. This is a cornerstone perspective that our founders embraced and believed. And it's in the founding documents of our country. It's in the founding documents of Iowa. It's in the founding documents of Minnesota. Our government, at every level, is pushed into areas of our lives that was reserved for families and for neighborhood and for community and for private markets and for places of worship and for charities, and down the list. The people and places and things that were non-governmental are now being encroached upon, being burdened, being discouraged, being taxed, being regulated, being taken over by the government. And that not only grows government and grows budget and makes the government spending worse, which you need to stop, but it does something else that's even more corrosive. It says to the American spirit, we're discouraging you. It says to our American spirit, we're being discouraged. And this country is a great country in large part because we're free. We're people who dream and innovate and invent and design and associate and worship and have our version of the American dream, and I've lived it. But we're a great country because we're free, and that's different than much of the rest of the world. It sets us apart. It makes us great. And now we have a government that is so big, so expansive, so burdensome, so discouraging, so bureaucratic, so expensive, that it is suffocating, stifling, discouraging the American spirit. So that's principle number 1. Turn towards God, not away from God. Number 2, and this one's hard. I know you had lunch and it's sunny outside and it's getting to be nap time maybe for some of us. But I'll say this one slowly in case there's some Democrats who watch this on the news so they can follow along too. Are you ready for it? It's complex. We can't spend more than we take in. You can't do it as an individual. You can't do it in your family. You can't do it in business. And we can't let the government do it anymore. There's a great debate going on in Washington, D.C. right now about whether they're going to spend $3.65 trillion or $3.7 trillion. The problem is they're only taking in about $2.2 trillion. This isn't a debate between 3.65 and 3.7. We've got to have profound structural reform of our government at Washington, D.C. It is out of control. We have a President of the United States, the leader of our country, the leader of the free world, who in the face of the biggest financial challenge in the modern history of this country, facing trillion-dollar deficits as far as the eye can see, says over 10 years he wants to cut $400 billion. Now, I don't question, his birth certificate, but I do question what planet he's from when it comes to public policy. Now, the next principle is another one I think you'll recognize, and I know you're busy with family and work and other things, so if you've got time to watch cable TV and get information, that's great, and if you can read journals and publications and get all boned up on government reform, please do, it's helpful. But you just need the Reader's Digest version of what you need to know about government reform. It's this: people spend money differently if it's their own money. Two other ones, then I'll just stop. Next one is this. We know that in a democracy, when you got more people riding in the wagon than you got pulling the wagon, we got a problem. So we need fewer riders and more pullers in the private economy. We need to do things to encourage entrepreneurs and business growth and the like. And one of the best things we can do for our fellow citizens is make it more likely that there's going to be jobs growing in our country, not decreasing. And the answer to how to do that does not reside with the politicians. Most of them have never worked in the private sector in their life. The answer resides with the people who have ideas and start businesses and grow businesses and the like. And when you ask them, what can we do? The main thing they say is, get government off my back. Now, we also need to say to our fellow citizens, look, if you're disabled or disadvantaged, we're going to try to help if that helps coming into your equity. But if you're able-bodied, you got to be trying to work. And we got to get some accountability about making sure as many people as possible are accessing the economy as best they can. We're going to need all of your help. I'm not going to be talking negatively about any other Republican candidates in this race, because however this comes out, we're all going to need to be a team at the end. But I want you to know I think I'm the one likely candidate, not candidate, but other likely candidates in the race who can appeal to the full spectrum of the conservative coalition, which of course includes economic conservatives and social conservatives and Tea Party/libertarian conservatives and national defense and security conservatives. If you think critically about the rest of the possible candidates, I think many will appeal to primarily one of the groups, but I can genuinely and authentically appeal to the whole spectrum. And I've got a record to back it up. And not just coming and saying the words, but having done it. And a life story that reflects the fortitude of getting things done in a way, even if it's difficult, even if it's challenging. And that's important, because what we face is not going to be easy. But it isn't about easy. The United States of America has seen challenge before, and we always overcome.